This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
All right. The All-Star Game is a week from tomorrow in Philadelphia. I can already tell you my personal opinion, the All-Star is going to be the guy telling you the names in the ballpark because the best, Dan Baker, to me, he'll be the star of stars. Sir, welcome back.
Steve Jones, the Steve Jones. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm all excited. This will be the third All-Star Game, Steve, that I've had the privilege to provide the public address announcing.
Yeah, the first one you did. Take me back to that day. Take me back to the first one that you did, where you did the public addressing announcing for, because you're younger at that point, hadn't done one. What kind of thrill was it that night, and who were the names that, like, to you live forever that you were able to announce that night?
Well, of course, I'm such a dyed-in-the-wool Phillies fan. The fact that Greg Luzinski and Mike Schmidt and Larry Boa, Bob Boone were on the team, and there were five altogether. And the way that the city of Philadelphia saluted them, historically the Phils were a struggling franchise, and they've had a rich tradition really since the Carpenter family took over in the 40s, and the Phillies have been in World Series in 80 and 83 and 93 and 2008, 2009, 2022. But for a franchise, Steve, that was founded in 1883, there were a lot of lean years between 1883 and when they won their first ever World Series in 80. Now, it took 97 years, and they made it to the World Series in 1915 for the first time and 1950 for the second time. And by the time they made their third World Series and won it, I was lucky enough to be the public address announcer. But I'm sure proud of them. I grew up with the Phillies. I learned to love baseball, and my father took my brother Rick and me to see the Phillies play at Connie Mack Stadium. Yep. This big old stadium that was constructed in 1909. It probably seen its better days by the time it hit the 50s, but boy, it was like heaven to me, Steve, and my brother, and going in there and seeing those big light standards and seeing those guys in red and white pinstripes, Robert Roberts, Richie Ashburn, and for 1976, for me to have the privilege to announce the All-Star Game and announce the best Phillies at the time. And, of course, later in 76, the Phillies did win the National League East, but lost to the Big Red Machine with Johnny Bench and George Foster and Joe Morgan and Pete Rose and company. And that was one of the best baseball teams ever assembled. And but announcing them, and I'll tell you one of the amazing things, Steve, was the pregame batting practice. And I'm going to reflect, if you don't mind, in 1996, Bill Giles and Dave Montgomery had asked me to go down to the field and announce the batting practice so that if there was anybody who didn't know was in there, and of course the great baseball fans, they all knew. But just as a courtesy to those who might not have been aware, I announced Mark McGuire. This is 96 now. And, of course, he's hitting one after another into the upper deck in left field. Barry Bonds is hitting in one after another into the upper deck in right field. You know, he's a left-handed swinger. And I remember one of our interns saying to me, "Oh, Mr. Baker, did you ever see anything like this?" Thinking that I never did. I said, "Yes, I did. 1976, Greg Luzinski was hitting ball after ball into the upper deck in left field, as was Dave Kingman." And Johnny Bench and George Foster. And on the left side, like Willie Stargell. You know, it's just prolific.
Well, that's one thing about batting practice. Dave Kingman never struck out, so that was good. What? Okay, so an all-star game, which will include, it's an all-star weekend, so there's the home run derby, and of course there's the game itself. What is there anything extra on your plate that you have to do because of all the all-star festivities, or are they going to let you just lock in on the game itself?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the game, and that is a high privilege. There are a number of other events. The Major League Baseball, Steve, has assembled a very talented production team, and basically, for a lot of these special games, they have their own PA announcer and support people. Like the Field of Dreams, as an example. Yes. When the Phillies and Mets played a pair of games in London 2 years ago. So the HBCU Swingman Classic and the Futures game and the Home Run Derby. And then, you know, we have network TV makes a much bigger deal out of the Midsummer Classic than was done in the past. And not that it wasn't a big deal then, and not that, but it's even bigger and more important if possible. And so that's who's you know, going to be doing a lot of the extra stuff. And I feel very fortunate, and I'm grateful to do the game itself.
Right. And that HBCU game, in fact, the two members of the State College Spikes who are with the club now are going to be playing in that game, so we're thrilled for them that they get the opportunity. Guys, I've been announcing for the past month. All right, so now you get to the game. Like, you know, you've announced all these names during the course of your career, but some more often than others. As always, you know, give everybody an idea, that little bit of extra homework, because what makes you one of the greatest pros I've been around is you've always taken care of the little things, and you let the big things take care of themselves. And that's what makes you a great pro and a great example to so many young announcers out there. So what are those little things that you'll take care of? That way when the moment comes, it's easy for you.
Well, Steve, it may not sound like such a big deal, and I know it's very important to you, but something as basic and foundational as knowing how to correctly pronounce each player's name.
Yes, it's huge.
Not everybody, you know, that's something I think that we kind of assume or take for granted, but that's absolutely essential. And in fact, when the entire rosters were announced on Sunday. One of the things that I first looked at was, are there any names here that are going to be challenging? And of course, that's okay if there are, because if there's somebody down there that I'm unfamiliar with, I'll just ask, the public relations people, some of the broadcasters. Sometimes I even ask the players themselves.
Yes.
If I'm still not quite sure how to properly pronounce a player's name.
Well, I mean, see, and I've told my broadcasting class that when I was teaching it. I said, look, one of the little things you have to take care of is you have to make sure you pronounce names correctly, because guess what? You can lose credibility with the fans. There's going to be a segment that knows, and you'll lose credibility with them. And I'll walk up to players and like little things. Like everybody, the running back now for the Tennessee Titans, Nicholas Singleton. Well, everybody calls him Nick Singleton. Nick. He told me he preferred to be called Nicholas. So on the broadcast, I called him Nicholas. The wide receiver now for Penn State name, it's Sowell. So I asked him one day, I said, Chase, tell me how to pronounce your name. He says, it's Sowell. I said, okay. So some people are calling him Soul. And I said, it's Sowell. And he looked at me and he says, thank you so much for asking. And you've probably had that many times where the player thanked you for getting it right.
Yes. Of course, I appreciate them for, guiding me. And there have been times, Steve, where I've made a mistake, but, if somebody tells me, they want it a little bit differently, or a long A here instead of a short one, or, I will comply. I will be guided by them. It's their name. Nobody knows it better and how it should be said. Of course, we also have the benefit of pronunciation guides, which Major League Baseball provides a book to all of us in the beginning of the year that has the most challenging names to say and the phonetic spellings right next to them. But sometimes there are call-ups in the middle of the year, trades, and there's a few new players on the roster, and so with each new team that comes in, which the Phillies host, I'll go over that roster just to see if there's any new names or any that I'm unsure of, and it really doesn't take that long, especially. When you're getting teams in for, the second time. But that's one of those little essentials, Steve, as you pointed out. And that's one of the things that makes you such an outstanding broadcaster, too.
Thank you. But there's actually there's maybe a little trick to this in here so people understand. He may be announcing the players' names, but remember, everybody comes out for the opening lineup, which includes the coaching staffs, maybe a trainer or somebody that normally would not be announced during the course of a game or during the course of the season. And knowing you've got it all down now as to who those, quote, other people are, because there is the opening lineup itself where they line up on the first and third base lines.
Well, actually, Steve, that part is going to be handled by the MLB production team. As I understand it, I will be doing the game itself.
Okay, good.
But for most of the 2000s, network announcers like Joe Buck or Joe Davis have also participated in the announcement of the rosters for each team, including, as you said, like coaches, manager. I don't believe now. They're having a bunch of meetings this week to iron out all the details, but from the conference call that I've had previously, it sounded to me primarily I'm going to be announcing the game.
Good.
And I'm grateful for that. I have no complaints. And, the Phillies and Major League Baseball, Steve, have worked so hard to make this a first-class event and something which the city of Philadelphia can celebrate. And Major League Baseball has spent millions of dollars for youth athletic fields and, outreach, for just maintaining the popularity of baseball as America's game, and that needs to be done, and they're really doing a lot of good in the city for our youth, and it's going to be an exciting event, and same with the home run derby. Like I won't be announcing that. But I will be there. I will be a fan for that. And if something, would come up, I know there's going to be a couple of additional things that I'm doing, which I'll learn more about this week. But some of those that you might think are within the realm of the public address announcer, that's now an even bigger job than it once was.
One other point, and this is another thing ever since I've known you, you love every day, and you appreciate every day, and you appreciate every game. But I mean, the legacy of there are very few people that will now announce in their lifetime as a public address announcer a third All-Star game, to go with the World Series, to go with the playoffs, and so forth. All right, for you, the thrill never wears off. That's one of the many things I love about you. All right, but just the mere thought that you can do this as long as you have done it and continue to do it brilliantly, by the way, what does that mean to you?
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
It means I'm a lucky person.
Yeah.
Steve, our field, our sports broadcasting business, public address announcing, is very competitive. Yep. And compared with the population, there are relatively few such jobs. So of course, you can't make it without some talent, but you also have to have some luck when you consider all of the talented people that are interested but maybe never get this opportunity that you and I cherish. So I think you have to make the most of it, and to those who were good enough to hire us, we owe a lot, and it's important that we do our jobs to the best of our ability and make them proud. And that's what I tell young. I sure, just like you, Steve, I get asked all the time about people who want to get into the business, and I explain that it's challenging, but you can do it. A lot of people, including me, have done it, but a lot of jobs that I applied for, Steve, I mean, there were many others who applied as well.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate, to get the shot, and then you have to work hard to stay there, because there's a lot of other people that are interested in these positions, and they're so much fun. And, to be able to do something that you enjoy so much, how lucky are we?
Exactly. How lucky are we? Now I'm going to explain to everybody how lucky we are, because we get to hear you over and over again. So while you feel lucky, right? While you feel lucky to have it, which I totally relate to because I feel the same way about my job, how lucky are the fans that we get to hear you? They made the right choice. Dan, thank you so much. What a privilege to have you on. What a privilege to know you'll be on the mic for the All-Star game because you're an All-Star every day.
Steve, you're so kind, and you read that just the way I wrote it.
I kept going over it.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Thank you, sir. And you are the best in the business. My best to you. You will be great on Tuesday night and make us all proud. Thank you so much.
Listen to Steve Jones on WKOK.
They're going to use that in a promo now. You know that. Thank you, Dan.
Take care, my friend.
You are the best. Thank you so much. Oh, what a gem. The great, great, great Dan Baker.